Have you ever walked into a place you've never seen before and somehow knew exactly what was about to happen? Someone laughs, a waiter drops a glass, a song starts playing, and for just a few seconds, it feels like you've already lived that exact moment. Not yesterday, not in a dream, not in another city. It feels like you've lived it before. Scientists call this déjà vu, French for already seen. Around 2 out of every 3 people will experience it during their lifetime. It usually lasts only a few seconds, but those few seconds are powerful enough to make people question reality itself. For centuries, people believed déjà vu was evidence of past lives, proof that time repeats itself, or even a glimpse into the future. But modern neuroscience paints a much stranger picture. Because according to your brain, déjà vu may not be a memory at all. It may be a mistake, a tiny glitch created by one of the most complex machines in the known universe. But if it's just a mistake, why does it feel so real? Why are you absolutely convinced you've already experienced something that has never happened before? To answer that, we first need to understand how your brain decides whether something is familiar. Your brain is constantly trying to answer that question. Every second, your eyes collect millions of bits of information, colors, faces, sounds, movement, textures. But if your brain processed every tiny detail one by one, you'd never be able to react fast enough. So instead, it uses shortcuts. The moment you enter a room, your brain doesn't ask, "What is every object I'm looking at?" Instead, it asks, "Have I seen something like this before?" If the answer is yes, your brain can understand the situation almost instantly. This ability is called familiarity, and it's different from memory. Imagine someone shows you a photograph of a stranger. A week later, you see that same face again. You immediately think, "I know that face," but you can't remember where you saw them. That's familiarity. Memory is different. Memory tells you, "I saw that person in the supermarket last Tuesday." Familiarity simply says, "I've seen this before." Most of the time, these two systems work perfectly together. Your brain correctly matches familiarity with a real memory. But sometimes, something goes wrong. And when it does, your brain creates one of the strangest feelings a human can experience. A feeling of certainty without evidence, a memory without a past. For decades, scientists searched for the cause. Some believed it was hidden somewhere inside memory. Others thought it was caused by attention. And a few even suspected that the answer lay in tiny timing errors inside the brain itself. Each explanation sounds convincing, but none tells the entire story. So let's examine them one by one. But here's the problem. None of those theories can explain every case. Sometimes there isn't a familiar object. Sometimes you aren't distracted. Sometimes both halves of the brain are working perfectly. So why does the feeling still happen? To answer that, we need to look somewhere much deeper, inside the memory system itself. Deep within your brain sits a tiny structure called the hippocampus. It's responsible for turning your experiences into memories. Every face you recognize, every conversation you remember, every place you've ever visited passes through this structure. Normally, the hippocampus constantly asks one question. Have I seen this before? If the answer is yes, the memory is retrieved. If the answer is no, a brand new memory begins to form. Simple, at least most of the time. Because researchers discovered something fascinating. During episodes of Déjà Vu, that recognition system may briefly misfire. Imagine scanning a barcode at the supermarket. The scanner beeps, but nothing was actually scanned. The machine incorrectly signals already recognized. Some neuroscientists believe your brain can do something very similar. A completely new experience accidentally triggers the brain's familiarity signal before the brain has actually identified where it came from. Your conscious mind suddenly receives one powerful message: "I know this." But when it searches for the actual memory, there isn't one. The result is one of the strangest feelings a human can experience. Absolute familiarity without any explanation. But there was another clue. Scientists noticed something strange. People with epilepsy, especially epilepsy affecting the temporal lobe, reported déjà vu far more often than everyone else. Sometimes it happened just seconds before a seizure. That was a huge discovery because the temporal lobe is one of the brain's most important memory centers. If disturbing this tiny region could instantly create the feeling of remembering something that never happened, then maybe déjà vu wasn't supernatural after all. Maybe it was a tiny glitch inside the memory system itself. Modern brain scans support this idea. During episodes of Deja Vu, researchers have found unusual activity in areas responsible for recognizing familiarity. But during Deja Vu, something breaks. The familiarity signal turns on without the memory that should come with it. It's like your brain stamps a completely new moment with a label that says, already known, even though nothing can be retrieved to prove it.
So what actually causes déjà vu? After decades of research, scientists still don't have one single answer. Instead, they found several clues. And surprisingly, they all point to one place: your memory. Not your imagination, not the supernatural, your memory.
The first explanation begins with something incredibly small: a delay. Imagine two cameras recording the exact same moment. One records instantly, the other records just a fraction of a second later. When you compare the footage, it almost looks like you're watching the same event twice. Some neuroscientists believe something similar occasionally happens inside your brain. Information from your eyes, ears, and other senses travels through different neural pathways before it reaches your conscious awareness. Normally, every signal arrives together, and your brain combines them into one single experience. But very rarely, one pathway may arrive just a tiny fraction of a second later than another. We're talking milliseconds, far too fast for you to notice consciously. Yet your brain notices. The first signal is processed as the present. Then the delayed signal arrives, and your brain accidentally treats it like a memory of something that already happened. Nothing actually repeated. Your brain simply processed the same moment twice. That tiny delay could create the eerie feeling that you've already lived this exact moment. It's called the dual processing theory. And while researchers still debate whether it's the complete explanation, brain imaging studies suggest timing errors like these really can happen. But that theory raises another question. If déjà vu is only a processing delay, why do some moments feel strangely connected to our past? Why does a completely new place sometimes feel emotionally familiar, even when nothing has been repeated? To answer that, we need to look at how your brain stores memories in the first place.